Is there any chance I've been deceived by my media, by my pastor, by my presidential candidate that I'm worshiping? All right, everyone, time for us to go live with another edition of one of my favorite things, Right Wingers Gone Wild. I am unconventional Pastor Paul. This is the time when we look at what those crazy, zany right wingers are up to today. And I'm glad you all are with me. And again, not just to make fun of people, although we will probably kind of do that to some extent, but the goal of this is to try to get somebody to be able to look in the mirror and say, is there any chance I've been deceived by my media, by my pastor, by my presidential candidate that I'm worshiping? So that's why we do this. All right, let's start with this is where we show videos of right wingers, and it points to this idea in Jeremiah 5 in the book, in the Hebrew scriptures that Christians have colonized to call the Old Testament, that says they've grown fat and rich and don't care anymore about justice for the poor and the fatherless. And the prophets prophesy falsely. The leaders lead out of the words of those false prophets, and my people like it that way. And I feel like it's a perfect description of where we are as a country today. So let's start out with something funny. Donald Trump loves to be loved by celebrities. I think this is partly why he hates it so much when guys like George Clooney or Lizzo or somebody like that who is actually really famous loves somebody other than him. And so here he is, really enjoying having pop star Nicki Jam at a recent event.
Superstar Nicki Jam. Do you know Nicki? She's hot. Where's Nicki? Oh, look. Come here. I'm glad he came up.
Whoops. Nicki wasn't quite the hot thing that Donald anticipated. Yeah. So we start with that funny because we know Don Old is a little old and cracky and crazy. But some of the things Donald says are not quite as cracky and crazy. Oh my gosh, I think I missed a video from Donald here. It was I'm sorry, I missed it somewhere here. That Donald had a video talking about Arnold Palmer and about how hung Arnold Palmer was. And I'm not so offended by that. I mean, Donald can, you know, he can salivate over anybody's penis he wants to. But the thing is it goes back to this general idea of masculinity and what I call faux masculinity of this Donald Trump right-wing alpha man narrative of the right, that Arnold Palmer is strong, he's a strong man, and he has a big penis, and all of those things. Like, those are the marks of what make a masculine person, a strong person. And Arnold Palmer's own family are now saying that is not how Arnold would define what strong and manly are. And that's what a small person would do. That's what a small person, particularly a small child in an adult male body, needs to talk about, muscle size and penis size. And generally when they're doing that, you have to say, death protest a bit too much. And that's the problem in all of this today, is Donald Trump gives people permission to be their worst selves. And when we were challenging little boys in men's meat sack to grow up and act like real men who didn't have to put down women to think themselves strong, a man who believes molesting women is a sign of power and virility comes along and says, "Nah, be your worst self." And it's a tragic, horrible thing. And his followers love it, just like this young woman on a right-wing media outlet who says, Putin is the man.
You know, Russia is a Christian nationalist nation, actually Orthodox Christian. I'm Russian Orthodox. So, you know, I actually support Putin's right to protect his people and always put his people first, but also protect their Christian values. I identify more with with Putin's Christian values than I do with Joe Biden. So, you know, like there is that, you know, that there is that there. You know, Christian nationalist countries also are a threat to the global regime, like the Luciferian regime. It wants to mash everything together, but Putin takes care of his people. He looks out for his people.
Yeah, I mean, so he's a dictator. So he's, you know, he makes sure that oligarchs are taken care of so they can have lots of money, and none of them care if the people are struggling. He's a Christian, and he protects Christian values by invading neighbor countries. This is what Christianity has become. It's off the rails. And how far off the rails is it? Well, Danica Patrick. I did not know Danica Patrick had a podcast, and I didn't know Danica Patrick had a podcast that was this far off the rails. But this is Danica Patrick interviewing a guest about shape-shifting lizard people. I kid you not. This is 100% real.
Politicians, celebrities who have signed contracts to sell their soul, who are these shape-shifting reptilians, they are either dying suddenly or they can't hold their shape-shifting form anymore.
We're able to see more too. Unless you got like a Men in Black situation where someone can come in and move back time a little, or
yeah, that's what they've done before.
And we ask ourselves, why are people voting and supporting Donald Trump? And then you see that. Like, these people are serious. They believe there are politicians in the US government that are shape-shifting lizard people. And in that, I didn't play the whole clip, in that they believe that Justin Bieber is one of these people, and Adele. You know, what do you do about that? And so Brett Baer, I can say these people are crazy, but Brett Baer wanted to try to get VP Harris to say it on Fox the other day. And by the way, how brave is she to go on Fox? And for those of you who have been out there saying she can't put sentences together, she's not strong, she can never be commander-in-chief, you need to go watch that interview. But this was him trying to put her on the spot, and she used Brett Baer.
Bad, as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States. Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
So
cakewalk
are they misguided, the
for anyone.
50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes.
Damn. She got him. Not only did she handle Brett Baier, but the man who likes to look at apparently men in showers and declare their manliness from that viewing. The man with little hands and orange skin and really bad hair who doesn't put on a cap at McDonald's and lets his hair go into the pre-planned people driving through the drive-through into their French fries. Do you know that every dictator in history basically has been a super tiny, fragile ego of a human being? That, you know, the mustachioed man in Germany himself was angry that they used to call him the little colonel. It takes a fragile ego to be afraid of democracy and to run in democracy, to refuse to concede an election and to want to be a dictator. It takes you to be lacking something. And when I see Donnie, or Don Old, as I like to call him now, I just see a poor guy who needs a hug from his dad so badly. And it's pretty sad if it wasn't putting a whole bunch of human beings in danger, including our entire society. All right, let's cleanse our palate from that with something a little bit funny. If you have ever been in sort of charismatic circles of Christianity, you know what a worship service looks like, and particularly somebody sort of what we would call prophesying in a service, and it can get very elegant and heavenly, or it can sound like this.
This image of the throne room of God, that the elders are castrating themselves in front of the Lord, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful picture.
Wait, did he say what I thought he said?
Are castrating themselves in.
He did say what I thought he said.
The elders are castrating themselves in.
Woo! I don't want to be a part of that religion where you're considered to have to castrate yourself before the Lord. Yikes. All right, we finish our right wingers gone wild today in Springfield, Ohio, and we start with one of the classy Springfieldians at a commissioners meeting talking about their Haitian neighbors, as you might imagine, in the grandest of Trumpian terms.
Of people portraying white people as being racist and told that we hate black people. Now they're trying to misconstrue things here, and the Haitian people are trying to act like they're African Americans that have been here and born.
Wait, did he say misconstrue?
Things here, and the Haitian we hate black people. Now they're trying to misconstrue things here, and the Haitian people are trying to act like they're African Americans that have been here and born and raised here. They're trying to portray themselves as a black American. They're not black Americans.
Word to the wise, if you're one of those people saying, I'm so tired of being called a racist, it might be worthwhile to stop and look in the mirror and say, could it be me? Could I be the problem? Is there a reason I keep being called racist? So I want to finish. Some of you on the right may not understand something called satire, but I'm going to finish with something of a woman from Springfield being satirical, talking about the problem of Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and I can't applaud her more.
I'm so angry about the changes in Springfield. I can't believe these Haitian immigrants would come here and fill jobs that local Springfield residents would not or could not do. And now they've raised the average city wage for both Springfield and Clark County. They're paying income tax to the city that the city desperately needs for services like police and fire. They're making some of the local losers look bad by their example. It's unbelievable. The Haitian immigrants are working overtime to save up money to buy up all the dilapidated, condemned, and boarded up homes in Springfield, then fixing those houses up to make them livable again. This is raising property values across the city and county to the point where the valuation of all real estate in the city surpassed $1 billion last year for the first time ever. This in turn increases the property taxes paid to Clark County for those homes that are now no longer boarded up nuisances. How awful. I can't believe they're helping to fund our government and beautify our neighborhoods. These Haitian immigrants are now spending money in our community to where new restaurants and retail spaces keep opening up across the city. And not just businesses run by Haitian. What absolute madness. Now we have new businesses in town generating more tax revenue for our city and county? I have a good paying job with great benefits. I don't need SNAP or TAMP, but because I have main character syndrome and the entire world should revolve around me, I want the exorbitant benefits that some of these Haitian immigrants get, which is $292 for SNAP, aka food stamps, and $363 in cash per month for a single adult. Everyone knows that $655 per month lets you live like a millionaire in Springfield. I don't need it, but I want it before anyone else, because why should we help folks who have legally come to our country, but they have to wait for their work permit so they don't starve, feeding the hungry in our community? This is lunacy. As the senator from the great state of Ohio, J.D. Vance, said back in 2021, childless cat ladies are ruining America. As a childless cat lady, I take my duty to ruin America very seriously. I do this by simply choosing to live my life differently than J.D. Vance's personal religious beliefs would dictate me to do. Mayor Rue, Commissioners Estrop, Brown, Houston, and Tackett, I hope you sit up there and think about what you've done. Because of your support of the Haitian community and the rest of Springfield and Clark County, how am I supposed to ruin America if I can't even ruin Springfield first? I am so disappointed in you. Thank you.
You ever seen one of those old 80s movies where there's always like somebody starts the slow clap and then by the end everybody's clapping, for the nerd who like saved everybody, kind of thing. That's what I want to do for that lady's satire of how awful that these Haitians have come and raised our tax benefits and tax level in our neighborhoods. Um, uh, some of the great comments you guys have brought. Doug on the left, talking about the elders castrating themselves, says, see, they believe in gender surgery when it's convenient. Well done, Doug. P-Dub HPDX says, I love this lady. You go, girl. I love it. Spudinky says, misconstrued. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Spudinky says, good for her for calling Brett Baer out on his shit. That's the Kamala I voted for. Love it. Then I saw another comment up here. And somebody says here, haven't you heard the entire royal family are lizard people? I had not heard that. That's good to know. And Doug says, apparently, if Haitians aren't African Americans living legally in Springfield, Ohio, then apparently Puerto Ricans are not Americans either. Well, Donald Trump didn't think so. He was really upset that he had to help them out after a hurricane, because why are we helping out people from these S-hole countries? And had to be reminded that Puerto Rico is in fact part of the United States. Just another part of the brilliance that is Donald Trump. All right, that is it for this edition of Right Wingers Gone Wild. Next time you have a friend or neighbor or somebody in your inner circle that says something wacky or cracky, just point them to our Evangelicalish podcast and let them check out Right Wingers Gone Wild, and to see that the roots of their movement has to do with Jewish space lasers, shape-shifting lizards, and so much more. See you all soon. Love you guys.